Today is October 28, 2014, and all precious metals are up. All 5 of them. So, this video is about copper rounds. I noticed that Mike Maloney is now selling copper rounds on his goldtosilver.com site. But I don't see if these copper rounds are Troy or they are the...
Avoirdupois.
Wait. I'll try it again.
Avoirdupois.
Avoirdupois. If they are Troy or avoirdupois ounces. Of course, you know, a Troy ounce is what precious metals are measured in. And avoirdupois is what, like, you know, like feathers and concrete and other stuff. Most stuff is measured in. So, remember when I was in high school, a physics teacher would ask a question: what weighs more? You know, he'd ask what weighs more, an ounce of silver or an ounce of feathers. People would say, of course they're the same, but he'd say, aha, one's measured in Troy, one's measured in avoirdupois, right? Avoirdupois. That's close enough. But going back to the rounds, right? I've got a couple copper rounds here, right? How come you don't see a lot of copper rounds out there? Because the markup is so high. I mean, when it comes to gold and silver, you can add a couple bucks of a premium on. But I mean, the metal in this, here, let me go to, I'm going to go to the site here, copper ounce price calculator. So a Troy ounce right now is about 21 cents. And an avoirdupois ounce is about 19.5 cents. So if you're going to make these rounds, I mean, you got to make a profit. So Mike Maloney's charging 99 cents, which is kind of a big markup from around 20 cents of metal in it. And I got these as free samples. When I went to the Metals and Mineral Conference the previous year, the Mulligan Mint was there. And they were there at that time when there was that big feud between Chris Duane and the Mulligan Mint. And I even did 2 videos. I did one video where I was at the booth, and the Mulligan Mint, the guys there actually stamped around right. No, I actually put lever to stamp around. I did another video saying, well, this is what Rob Gray says about the current feud, and I got a lot of hate on those 2 videos. And when I was at this Metals and Mineral Conference, when I was talking to the Mulligan Mint people, I said, hey, you know, there's a lot of stuff. There's a big feud going on between you guys and Chris Duane. Tell me your side of the story. And I was like, you know, I was trying to just hear their side. I wasn't agreeing with them or disagreeing with them, but I asked them, wow, you guys are pretty brave to come out in public with this big feud. And they're like, no, not really. We haven't had a single Chris Duane fan show up and try to yell at us. You know, this was in New York City, a huge metro area, with the thousands and thousands of Chris Duane fans all over the U.S. I'm sure there must have been many in the New York City metro area. But the first day of the conference, when I was there, not a single Chris Duane fan showed up to give them a piece of their mind. And that just reinforced that a lot of this stuff on the internet stays on the internet. The people who were Chris Duane fans, they would not get in their car, get in the subway, or they would not travel to a conference, right? They just don't do that. The people who listen to a lot of these channels are not conference goers. They're not going to go to a Metals and Mineral Conference. And this is the kind of place where you get a lot of information and you can talk face-to-face with people. At this conference, I spoke to Eric Sprott, right? Eric Sprott was there. The previous year, I spoke to him. I asked him a question. He dropped his business cards. I guess what I said, he didn't expect, like a hard question. And, you know, I spoke, at this one, I spoke to people at Kitco, you know, the people you see, Danielle, whatever, you just talk to them, right? So at these conferences, you can talk face-to-face with the people you see on YouTube. But at these conferences, I see very few, I guess, people who are mostly internet researchers. So it's interesting, the real world and the internet. So yeah, so Mike Maloney has these new copper rounds, and, you know, obviously he's got to have a big premium to make a profit. So, you know, for 99 cents you get a round, it's about 20 cents of metal in it. So I guess you're paying like 80 cents. I guess maybe 80% of the price you're paying is for like a neat collector's item. And personally though, you know, if you want to buy copper, if you're interested in buying copper, there are probably many ways to buy copper. But interestingly enough, like, you know, you hear people talk about they talk about the gold ETF and the silver ETF, and they bash them. But I don't hear much copper ETF bashing, right? Because, you know, I have yet to hear like anybody in the internet warn people of the copper ETF. So it's interesting how, you know, these ETFs hold metal, but the copper doesn't have this huge kind of background behind it. And I know people will say, yeah, but copper isn't money. Well, historically speaking, for many centuries, copper was an important money. Look at, you know, look at all kinds of references and history books. You know, copper was money. I mean, it had all the properties for many geographic areas and times. It had the properties of another precious metal. Right now, I would not consider copper a precious metal, but at certain points in times, in certain areas it was. I mean, in Europe, they really didn't have a lot of copper mines. So, like in the Middle Ages, where there wasn't a lot of travel, copper was scarce, and copper was a precious metal. And of course, when you know, those copper mines in other parts of the world start pumping copper out, and it becomes too common, then it kind of loses a lot of monetary properties, of course. But there are still copper and pennies. It still has value and so forth. So yeah, I just want to say I think it's interesting that we're seeing Mike Maloney now selling copper rounds, because before he was really gold and silver, and now he's got copper rounds. I wonder if in the future he'll have like platinum and palladium rounds. I don't know. So thanks for watching, and be well.